Teaching comes from knowledge, coaching comes from experience, right? Huge difference. And so we, as an entrepreneurial world, have to stop paying teachers coaching prices.
I'm a huge believer in the real estate world. We call it a coach, but I guess it's more of a consultant. It's more of a accountability partner. I think it's the reason I brought in a facilitator, right? Like, get someone that's done it or is a pro at it to guide you. Because I have a board presentation that comes out of that meeting.
Yeah, you do.
I've never really done a board presentation like that where I'm going to show $340 million in cash that flies out my window, right? This guy has. So he guided us towards building that, and now the next 2 weeks, my job is to distill it all down into a plan, not a proposal, right? That the board will sign off on as a promise that I then take back to the leadership team and say, guess what? We got exactly what we asked for.
Yep.
Now we have to perform.
Are you the director of the board?
I am not. I'm on the board. There's 5 of us on the board. My wife and I are 2 of them, so I got 1 vote, I think.
Yeah, hopefully. Until she watches this. So, but you have a director of the board that then oversees the president, the CEO of the organization. And CEO of the organization, everybody always thinks in entrepreneurship that person is absent from the business. Like, that's the goal. Let's get there. I never want to be the visionary. I don't want to be CEO because that's a seat in the business. You work more on it than in it, but it's a seat in the business. And so what happens is you have to have the strategic, that's what they're called strategy sessions, strategic meetings, 4 types of meetings in every business. Strategy meeting to create the plan that then delivers back to your board. And then the board has to approve it or doesn't approve it, right? As the owner of my businesses, I have a board meeting every quarter after their strategic meeting. They share the vision with me, what they want to do, how they're planning to do it. They cut a check for me for the last quarter, and I approve it or don't approve it. And if a visionary of an organization doesn't do a good job in the 12 months I have him in, I may replace him with another one, or I might step back in.
Yeah, and so, but part of that though, I know Casey Smith works with you a lot too.
Yeah, just
a
a
good friend
yesterday.
of mine.
She's a great girl.
I think people have to be willing to hire the person that they need to provide the services that they need before they need them. And I'm not in any way pitching I don't even know what you charge. I hear from everyone you're great at it.
Thank you.
But if you're out there listening, you don't know how to do these things, reading a book is oftentimes not enough. Like everybody, read Traction. Okay, great. Read the Bible. It doesn't mean that you're going to be not a sinner tomorrow.
Right.
But you need someone to help you put the framework in place. Yeah. And then if you had to have a call with me every Wednesday and we were going to discuss it on this podcast on how many quotes you sent out, and you sat here and said, we're sending 10 quotes this week, 2 per business day. On Tuesday, you're going to find a way to make sure that freaking number says 10.
Yeah.
But that works at all levels of the organization. Me with my board, my leadership team with me, them with their managers with their people.
Yep.
So getting someone to help you institute this, it doesn't have to be part of the long-term plan, but you'll never get started until you get started.
So Gary said something earlier, and it's said all the time, but you don't know what you don't know. And one of the main reasons I wanted to go back to school is because I've been in this entrepreneur world, and also it's just like you learn after you get hit. And it's like, man, I'm tired of getting hit in the face and then incrementally getting better.
As an entrepreneur, it's like your windshield is blacked out and you only have a rearview mirror.
Right. And it's just like you get hit, you're like, well, I'm not going to do that again. So like I wanted to, one of my main motivations was the network. SMU has a very strong network in the North Texas area. Yeah. But 2 is like, understanding what a P&L is, understanding what an income statement is, understanding what all that stuff is.
Cash flow report.
The cash, all that financial accounting mumbo jumbo that I have a midterm on in 2 days. But it's just like, you don't know about it if you don't have somebody teach you about it.
Sure.
Because the reality is, if I hire you to do a business and coaching, I want to learn how to make more money. And those lessons of like the financial statements, that's like, yeah, I'll get to that, but how do I make more sales?
Yeah.
And I think there's always a bias to that, but you still got to get that foundation. So that was one of the reasons I'm doing the
Yeah, I mean, I think knowledge is one thing. I think way too many people nowadays pay teachers coaching prices. And I think it's a big mistake. Teaching comes from knowledge, coaching comes from experience, right? Huge difference. And so we, as an entrepreneurial world, have to stop paying teachers coaching prices. And you pay coaching prices, right? It's a lot more money. But coaching, he said it earlier, you were explaining about your strategic meeting you just had. The guy's been there before.
Yeah.
That's not something he read in a book. He's done it. That's coaching.
He's got 2 IPOs.
That's my point, right? So like, you bring people in that have done it before or helped other people do it before. You know, I've coached almost 4,000 businesses now in the last 9 years. We've done it before. You know, I have 14 of my own, sold 8. You know, like we've done this before. And I'll be honest with you, I did not have the knowledge of entrepreneurship just because I was successful in corporate America. I won Executive of the Year 8 out of 10 years. Didn't have the knowledge of running an entrepreneurial business. It took me coming in, being very humbled, and realizing that the knowledge gained in the corporate wasn't the knowledge I needed at an entrepreneurial level. And then operating systems, like we talked about Traction. And Traction does a good job, but it leaves out some very important ingredients. It leaves out finance. It leaves out process. It has a 3-step process documenter, and that's about it. I have a background in Six Sigma with Jack Welch and GE Financial in 2011 or 1. Now, those components are very crucial to an operating system and building an entrepreneurial business. You cannot replicate yourself without documented process, procedures, and policies. And then understanding the difference. There's a process, which is what we do. There's a procedure, which is how we do it. And there's a policy, which is when we do it. And so many people don't document the process, lean it out before they document the procedure. And now they got all these employees out doing repetitive work that's got a lot of waste in it. And they don't scale properly.
What's the difference between process and procedure?
Process is what we do. Procedures are how we do it. So process is, you get a lead, you follow up on the lead, you go to the appointment, you make an offer, you get a contract. That's process. Procedure is, how do I follow up? How do I do the appointment? How do I make the offer? How do I sign the contract? That's procedure.